good. It's all good. Living, loving, living, it's all good. I'm loving, living, it's all good. Living, living, it's all good. I'm loving, living, it's all good.
Good morning and welcome to It's All Good, the place that we just talk about everything that's good. I'm Dr. Eric Lane. My co-host, Adam Cox, is not with me today. You know him as Lucas on the radio because Lucas is still on the radio. He won't be off for about another 25 minutes. So I'm going to do this interview today on my own. Sometimes we tag team. We have a special guest today, and I wanted to talk a little bit about James before we turn some time over to him. I got to meet James 2 weeks ago almost, about a week and a half ago, at his Leadership from the Heart seminar. But I want to talk a little bit about some of James' background. James is the co-creator and he's the founder of the Life Skills Center for Leadership. This is one of the nation's top personal development training companies that was featured on shows like the Oprah Winfrey Show. He's been named one of the 40 outstanding Native Americans in business under the age of 40 by the National Center for American Indian Enterprise Development. James, you're the author of Yesterday's Wisdom, Today's Success. He's the co-author with his father of Recipes for Success and the soon-to-be-released book, Great Results Begin with Great Thoughts. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Good morning, Eric. Thanks for having me.
A couple other things about your family life.
Yes, sir.
Father of two boys,
Yes.
a husband, so we want to make sure that husband and father of two is in there. You are a marathon runner, and you donate your winnings. I know you're not a professional marathon runner, but you do a lot of events for diabetes campaigns, particularly for Native Americans. Is that correct?
Yes, I really like to. That's as you may know, you're in the Arizona area. Diabetes has definitely ravaged a large proportions of Native communities across the United States, including my own family. My grandparents had diabetes, and family members continue to battle and struggle with it. So it's real. It's certainly real, and it's an honor to find ways to raise money for those campaigns to help create healthy lifestyles, but also find cures and ways to battle diabetes.
What a wonderful thing to do. And for those of you listening today, too, we're going to put a link up for those that are dealing with this tragedy in Houston. I've got a son and a daughter-in-law and two grandkids that actually evacuated to Dallas. So we'll throw a link up because with this going on forefront, we want to make sure people have the opportunity. There's a lot of great charity agencies, the Red Cross and many others, that we can all donate and help with this incredible tragedy at this time. I want to talk about a few things. So, as I said, I wasn't able to spend a full 2 days with you because James has something in common with me. We're both stuck in elevator survivors.
Yep, check that off the bucket list.
So while you're here, just so that my family, friends, and everybody listening knows that you're that I haven't been telling a story. This did happen, correct?
Yes, correct. We were stuck in the elevator for an hour, a legit hour.
All right, I just want to make sure so everyone knows because it can be traumatic for people. We've recovered. I don't think it's bothering James. It's not bothering me at all. But so I got to spend almost 2 days with you during that time. That was when I left. I was amazed at the ability James had to deal with. I believe there were 20 of us in there. Diverse backgrounds, men, women, different leadership positions, different family values, and yet you were able to unify this group. And you would say, I know you would probably say you guys unified this group, but you were able to get people together very quickly. We talked about it on the last show. When we come to seminars, I think we generally stand back, most of us, especially the competitive nature of business people. And we sort of reach the hand out and we say, how are you doing? But in the back of our minds, we're measuring. We're like, I wonder what he does. I wonder what she does. And something that you did that was very interesting, you told us to come to this in casual clothes. And that changes the game 100%. Because I've been to seminars where a lot of guys are in Armani suits and you automatically get a little intimidated because you don't have a Rolex on your left arm. So is that something that is intentionally done when you have groups meet together?
Absolutely. It's the idea that we're people. And not to mention, we are an active group. As you found out, there's not a lot of just sitting. We're doing a lot of things. So casual wear is better in that setting. Yet at the same time, there's a purpose of, we're just people. And we're more than our job. We've got families, we've got goals, we've got aspirations, and we're people. So that's I'm venturing to say most of us spend a lot of time just in our casual wear. So let's go here, and we're people. I've had somebody who's unemployed sitting in the chairs as a participant next to a doctor or a lawyer or a CEO of a business, and yet nobody knows because we're all just people. And there's something just wonderful about that. So
that was great.
yes,
I thought that was great because I just think it levels the playing field, and you're not keeping score. First question I want to ask you that talks a little bit about your heritage. How
Yes.
has your heritage as a Native American impacted you and impacted the way that you've decided to go the direction that you have today?
I am an enrolled member of the Lakudere Band of Ojibwe. Our reservation is located in northwestern Wisconsin, and my traditional name is Anamake Gijik, which means thunder sky in Anishinaabe Moen, the language of the Ojibwe people. And how has it impacted me? Just in terms of where I've gone, it's just always been there. I can't say it's like impacted me because it's just been part of my life. It's just something that's there in what I do. And yet, as far as my direction, as a young man growing up and having struggles and challenges with self-esteem and confidence, and then having the opportunity to do what I do now, work on success skills with all types of people, I just know there are lots of young men and young women who are in the Native communities who are struggling with the same types of issues, yet there are not a lot of role models out there, people who are out there doing it and living a strong way. And I feel it is my responsibility to be able to do workshops and trainings for the Native American community, because there's just something to be said about being there, somebody who knows what the reservation life is like, who's been there, seen things, can relate. There's power to being able to relate with that. So as far as just an overarching thing, it's really not a big thing because it's always been there. If that makes any sense to you and your listeners, it's just always there. I will say that in doing the work I do, the training's not for Native people. The training's for people. I just happen to be Native American. So that's the whole idea in terms of what I do, as well as my father, who you'll probably get to this at some point, is Famous Dave Anderson, the creator of the barbecue chain. His goal wasn't to create a restaurant for Indian people. His goal was to create the best restaurant he could possibly create with great barbecue. And same thing for me. I want to create a training that works for all people. I just happen to be a Native person. So that's the philosophy that we kind of go with, is you do the best that you can for all people.
Well, that's a great intro and what I was going to lead into next, because I remember sitting in class in the first morning, and I had no idea you were the son of Famous Dave. I'm going to get to this question a little bit later, and you never talked about it, but when you talked about being a Native American, it struck me as my brain didn't compute as well, because I had a lot of friends growing up in Flagstaff, Arizona that were Navajos.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You're up there and you've got the enthusiasm, and you're showing something that I never saw from my friends. In fact, I had a couple friends that were incredible athletes, had college scouts coming to look at them, opportunities for scholarships, and yet they didn't take advantage of those. And I would always ask them, why not? They would shy away from the spotlight as well. They just were not comfortable with somebody looking at them. And then I said, why don't you go play ball here? Just don't really want to do it, and went back. A lot of them lived in the on the reservation area. And so when I saw you the first day, it sort of struck me, is this the culture that sometimes we'll see within reservations? You have the heritage, but obviously the paradigm sometimes that we paint, sometimes in areas where we grow up with these incredible people. I mean, the most humble people. My dad worked in a congregation in Loop for years, so we would go to church many Sundays out there, and we would actually be with these people, and we just loved them to death. But I saw that reservedness, that inability or not wanting to go out and be in the spotlight. Why would that mindset be there? Is that something that's more of a family? I just wanted to get your thoughts on why we may see that and understanding that, as opposed to saying, well, they're shy, they're reserved, they're an introvert, when maybe it's just a cultural thing. I don't know.
Well, the first thing is there are 500 nations that are part of the Turtle Island, or North America, as you will, and to just, in a way, to lump Native Americans in just like any other, they're nations, they're different cultures, they're different languages, there's different, just complete things that are different. At the same time, we're all just people. I knew people who were white who didn't take advantage of opportunities. I know Native people who did take advantage of opportunities. It's hard for me to comment about in a group or a family or an individual when I don't know them. I don't know their situation. They could be like me, low self-esteem, and low confidence, and sabotaging yourself and keeping yourself from the opportunities. They could absolutely be like that. Or they could just say, you know what, leaving my family at this point and going off to school, that's not the best thing for my family. I'm going to stay here. And in many cases, we'd say, wow, that's the honorable thing to do. I don't know those situations. Each situation is different. They have their own little things. Because I know some Navajo people who tell the best jokes and are lively, and then I know some shyer Navajo people who are calmer. And then I know some very confident Navajo people, and then I know some low self-esteem Navajo people. It's just kind of, you can't just, in my opinion, you can't just lump something in. They each all have their own own perspectives and paradigms and all that. And to comment, it wouldn't be a good comment because I don't know the family or the people or each situation. So that's my comment. It's a little gray, but it's gray.
It makes sense, though. But do you think that the closeness that I saw, it seemed like I saw a lot of closeness within the friends and groups of people up there, that it's sort of, I mean, that's what we try to do in our family. We try to make family first. We try to make heritage. We try to reverence our ancestors. I just think that is much more innate, it seems like, within the people that I grew up with there, which I highly respected because they want to preserve family lineage, and they want to keep that trust and that closeness together. And I know even in my own family, sometimes that keeps me away from doing things because I don't want to be too far away from my family, because that's really where my heart is, and that's where I'm the happiest. So that was sort of my thought, is maybe it's just the cultural of something that is so great that we lose sometimes in our country, where families aren't that close together and people spread out and they just don't keep their lineage. They don't know about their great-great-grandfather. They don't know about, there's not books kept. And I noticed within the group of my friends that this tradition, and even like you talked about your name in the beginning, there's great strength from that. A lot of us, our name is Bill, or, we don't have a lot of, there's not a lot of pride in our name other than our parents saw it in a newspaper or they decided to name us something. So that was my assumption, that maybe it's that closeness, that togetherness, that tradition.
Yes, for sure. There's this desire to have just the history, the horrible things that happened, and you want to keep the closeness and keep things that are sacred to you, the culture, the language. You want to have that live on, and the way to do that is to stay close. And there was a point in my grandparents' situation where that was work, like that was actively work to be ground out of people. So there is this feeling of we need to actively work to keep this, and maybe going away will lose that. Fortunately, in my opinion, things are changing where young men and young women are able to go out and learn how to survive and thrive in today's world and keep their culture and their strength and learn. Universities are great about having native studies and the language and learning. That you can, in my opinion, you can do both now. There was a time you could not do both because it was actively being ground out. Today you can absolutely do both, and I'm very proud as I watch and look around that. At least in my communities, language revitalization is on the way up. Cultural ways and practices are on the way up, and more people are participating. The youth, there's active programs to teach the youth. So to just finish up, it's fantastic that in today's world you can do both. Where even in my dad's and for sure in my grandparents, it was hard because it was looked down upon and actively looking to be stamped out.
Great.
So,
that's a great, and that's what, and see, you can see all this. I'm old, so when I go back to those days, we're 30 some years ago, that I think I was still caught up a little bit in that more. And I love what you said there. I'm going to get this out of the way quick because I'm sure you're asked this often. Like I said, I didn't hear you talk about your dad once for 2 days. I mean, not one time. Millions of people know your father. They know the restaurant. They know the incredible things that he's done. The challenge for people who come from a parent or parents or a family to go out and do their own thing is overwhelmingly difficult. I think you can see it even in people that are successful. The kids a lot of times just sort of wander along. There's not a lot of pressure. How challenging has it been for you to blaze your own trail, to go out and do this, to become the innovator, the teacher, the leader, to brand yourself for your accomplishments? And that's not disrespecting, because I know how much you love your dad and I know how great he is, but how challenging has it been for you to do that?
To be clear and honest, I'm not blazing my own trail. I am putting into forth a vision that my dad has. See, my dad was a kind of a loser too at one point, where he just didn't know where he was going, confidence issues, things like that. He didn't make it in university and lost his direction. And when he got back to Chicago, a friend grabbed him and said, "Come on, get your best church suit," and they went to a Zig Ziglar seminar. And that's the first time he'd ever heard you can do what you want to do, be what you want to be, if you're willing to believe in yourself and work hard enough at it. And that he'd never heard that before, and that changed everything around. So as he worked and failed and worked and failed and worked and failed and finally made it, got the right opportunities and took advantage of it and became successful with financial means, he wanted to make sure that there other people who were in his same position who wanted but never heard the message, they got an opportunity to attend great workshops and seminars, because to him, he loves Zig Ziglar, Jim Rohn, Og Mandino, the pillars, the grandfathers of the success and personal development movement. He's all into that because it's changed his life, his empowerment circle around, just like it's helped me. And to be able to bring that to other people, I'm a tool of his to bring that to other people. Now, that being said, there was a time when I felt, we need to get away from him, and we don't brand it. And the recession hit, and I really had to look deep into myself as my business is failing and everything is going down the tubes. And I needed to practice what I preach, and I got some coaching, and not how to speak, but kind of the business. And I invested, and I went to the guy's house, put money in that was I really didn't have, and I listened to him say, "Well, what are your goals?" "Well, I want to provide for my family and I want to be able to coach my kids' teams and be there. That is what I'm really passionate about, my family, my wife, my 2 kids, and all that. And he looked at me and said, what I didn't hear you say is you want to blaze your own trail and be your own man. I said, no. And he looked at me and said, you need to get back under your dad's shadow and start promoting that you're Famous Dave's son. Oh, I was like, oh, what a just shot to the ego. Like, what? I have to go. I've been working hard to get away from him. Now you're telling me to go back? And I did it, and I've been more successful because I've realized it's not about me. It's about making a difference in the lives of other people and helping people out. And people don't have the foggiest clue who James Anderson is, but they know who Famous Dave is. And when they understand that this is his course, this is his goal, this is his dream, that the Leadership from the Heart training used to be Hog Heaven University training, which they still do, it's like, oh, wow, well, we know Famous, and we know Famous Dave's, we love it, we love the restaurant, and it gives them good feelings, and all of a sudden we're open to what James has to say. So in Leadership from the Heart, I purposely don't say it just because of how the training is. But in my other courses, it's stamped right all over the place. I'm Famous Dave's son and all that kind of stuff. And when I talk about the restaurants and all that, because you know what, that a little bit of fame and notoriety goes a long way in terms of getting people to actually listen to you.
Yeah, that is true. And what a great answer, because I think sometimes we, in the self-promoting world that we live in, sometimes we want to get credit for what we do. I think the natural man, that's the tendency, the ego. And when we do exactly what you said, success and the ability to make 1 + 1 = 3, like Stephen Covey said, instead of 1 + 1 = 1.5. So thank you for that. Fitness is a passion of mine. I mean, our family's passion is fitness. We've got a nephew and a niece that do the ABC thing, and they're all over the world promoting fitness. You're a marathon runner. I do a lot of my podcasts and a lot of my messages on fitness because I believe that many of the problems we deal with, fitness takes care of. So with your marathon running, when did you get into that? How has fitness and running been a positive influence upon you, both mentally, physically, spiritually, maybe as a father, a husband? I just want your idea, your thoughts on fitness and how it's impacted your life.
Oh, great question. First of all, I hate distance running. Yet the power of the marathon, I went to watch my wife run, and she ran the Twin Cities Marathon up here in Minneapolis. And I walked up to where I was going to first see her. After I dropped her off in the morning, I walked up to a spot. It was by a lake, and there was a large group. It was like right by mile 7. And I walked up, the crowd of people, they were already cheering, and runners are going by. And the Who song, Teenage Wasteland, that opening part is just going on in the background as these runners are going by, and everybody's cheering. And you know me, energy is everything. And I'm just like, this is awesome. And then watching the runners going by, I'm starting to cheer for people because I love even going to marathons, not necessarily even running, but going to cheer and support. It's just the amount of positive energy that was happening at that point in time and every other point was amazing. And I said, I gotta do these. These are fantastic. And and that's what I enjoy, because I don't enjoy distance running, but I enjoy that feeling that you got during it. And also, at least at my level, is you're not running against the people. You're running with the people. And having people as you're walking by and being able to support somebody. As a Cubs fan, I saw a guy with a Cubs shirt, and I'm running. I get to go up and high five and go Cubs and all that. It's just the best that humanity has to offer. You got the trials and tribulations of making it through. You got the feelings of elation as you feel good, as you're going runner's high to, I don't know if I can do this at this pace anymore. Just the feelings and the emotions and the scene is what brings me into it, and I love that about sports and fitness in situations, because not just running, but I enjoy lifting weights. I've discovered CrossFit, which I really enjoy, not because I've always enjoyed lifting weights, but the best thing about it is I can go, hey, great job, as somebody's lifting a weight or doing something, and it's not like shh at some other gyms and things like that. We're in this together. We want to help support each other. And not being in athletics anymore like I was when I was a kid, doing some things, I feel like we've just gotten away from that energy environment. That's why people love sports and music, because you get to cheer and clap for people. And I truly hope we are able to bring that to our families and our workplaces, and we just don't save it for sports and music and entertainment. There's a positive energy there that must be brought back into our communities and our families, where it's okay to clap and cheer for our sons and daughters getting off the bus, just as we cheer and clap for them when they're on the athletic field. So that's how fitness, that's why I love sports and fitness and things like that, because of that positive energy that everybody has around the whole event, if that makes any sense.
Oh, it's huge, and the way you approached it, I think it tells us why CrossFit is so huge, why the Spartan runs and the Tough Mudders.
Yes,
because it breeds that togetherness, and it breeds that, hey, it's fun, let's do this together. Because once again, it's a lot funner. In my life, I know that when my family left me to go to Sweden a few years ago for the summer, it's the first time in my life I had been alone. And I realized I don't like to do anything alone. I mean, I thought I liked to do things. I didn't like to watch a ball game alone. I didn't like to watch Seinfeld alone. I didn't like to eat alone. And maybe that's just me, but it made perfect sense. I loved at the seminar you just said it too about, why aren't we out there clapping, saying, yes, you guys are off the bus. Great day at school. This is awesome. You guys had a great day at school. Where most of us are thinking, we only clap when they kick a goal, or we only clap when they shoot a basketball through the hoop. We don't applaud them for studying or for achieving things that really are far greater in the long scheme of things.
Absolutely. If you stop and really think, it doesn't make sense. And it does make sense that we bring our positive energy to the thing, like you said, things that will down the road. So, yeah, I hope the movement of supporting and encouraging people can spread to other areas besides sports and music.
And this is the stuff, that's why we brought James here today, so that as you get more information later, this is what he teaches, and I can't recommend him anymore, but I'm going to get to a few more questions here so he didn't have to spend all day with me.
Yes.
Your philosophy, and I know this is a very open question, but every day you wake up, your emphasis, is there an emphasis, a driving force that keeps you on your path to your mission, your vision, your legacy? Do you wake up and some people have a quote, a statement, some people have a thought process. Do you have one of those? Is there one specific mindset that you have every morning when you get up? Because sometimes getting up, we're just not always ready to go rolling.
My philosophy is basically play hard, stay focused, and have fun. It's going to be a great day. I mean, when I tuck my kids in the bed, we say our prayers, tell them I'm proud of them, and I say it's going to be a great day tomorrow. And then wake up, it's going to be a great day. Here we go. I got things to do. It's kind of and the person is my position. I just don't do trainings. I got to sell opportunities to do trainings. So like the old successory sign says, the lion and the antelope, every day, whether you're the lion or the antelope, you better get up running. So that's how I feel. Like I look at it in terms of Native American sense is I eat what I kill, and I got to get out there and I got to go on a hunting trip. I got to go hunt. I got to go bring things in. If that's how my family was raised. My grandmother had a fry bread stand at a powwow, and if we didn't make money at the powwow fry bread stand, we didn't get money. If we didn't get money, we didn't eat. Same thing with my dad. If he wasn't out there hustling and selling and finding jobs and opportunities and things like that, we didn't eat. And if I'm not out there hustling and finding ways to get things done and sell and do trainings, my kids don't eat. I mean, it's it's about that. That's the driving force, is get out there and do things, um, and you gotta get out there and make things happen. That's just how it is. And so that's the driving force, is I've got to provide for my family. I've got to go out there and make a difference for the people, and I'm a professional. That's bottom line. If I were to go to, we go watch at the athletes or the theater performance on stage or something like that, we pay good money, we're expecting a good show. And we all can tell who's kind of mailing it in and who's giving effort. I want to be known as a person who gives great effort and did the very best I can in those situations, because I'm a professional. I'm getting paid, and I honor people's time and resources, and I don't want to waste that.
I love
I
love the simplicity of the statement. I think we get caught up in a big list. We wake up in the morning, we've got 84 things that we're going to define as being successful today. And yet you nailed it really good in just saying, hey, it's just about doing all that we can, having that, not being afraid to be emotional in the sense of, for me, I'm not a teary guy, but to yell and scream and cheer and hug and congratulate. I can't imagine you're a snooze button guy.
No, I mean, I'm not perfect, though. There are times when I'm just like, oh, not going to happen today. But yet I'm not a snooze guy. I'm ready to. I gotta get up, and there's stuff to do.
That's right. And we talked last episode about the snooze button, and the first commitment of the day that we made the night before is, I'm getting up at this time, and the minute we slap it, we have just lied to ourselves, or we've just broken the first commitment. And Stephen Covey talks a lot about private victories, but we talk to a lot of people about, I don't care about the time so much, although I'm a 5 a.m. guy, but keep that first commitment, because when that second commitment is, I'm going to eat good all day and breakfast hits, but I just failed my first commitment, that waffle with blueberries and chocolate chips looks a lot better than that egg whites and something else. But I've noticed when I've interviewed and worked with winners, and I think everybody's a winner, they're just not doing what they need to do. But people that are actually actualizing the things in life do what you're saying. They get up with a mission, they get up on focus, and they are ready to get rolling. And usually it's simplified like that. It's like, I'm going to do all I can. Today's going to be great. We set that mindset, and things happen. But you know what? You can adapt, and we can move forward. So I love that. Thank you so much for that.
Yeah, and it doesn't have to be like even work focused. Like it can be like this morning. My kids first time seeing Indiana Jones. And they didn't get to finish because it's late. We got to go to bed. But in the morning, that's what we're going to do. And I wanted to be there as a big Indiana Jones fan. I want to be there when they see those things, when they just, for the first time, watching a movie, and you just want to be a part of that experience. For me, that's priceless. And if I'm sleeping through it or whatever, I'm missing out on something you'll never get back. So that was even something as small as that. It's going to be a great day. You think work and all that. No, what about just making a great day with something that's important for your family? It doesn't have to be so much work. Don't forget those priceless things that happen with your people who are closest to you too.
And energy, just like you said, we can get up. And I know a lot of times you talked a lot about Tony Robbins, and I'm going to get one question in on Tony. But Tony teaches us physiologically how to change ourselves to be ready for the moment.
Oh, yes.
But we tend to be ready for the moment when it's financially or it's this or that. We forget what you just said. And how many times do we go on vacation and we've almost gotten a right to be, you get up and drag around and we're at Disneyland and it's 10 hours. If we were with the best client that we had, or we were with the person that we needed to make sure, I can promise you we wouldn't be talking to our children the way we are 10 days at Disneyland. We would be excited. We would be motivated. And why we don't do it, I have no idea, because we love them a heck of a lot more than anything on this earth. So even with vacations and watching Indiana Jones, bringing that energy, tucking them into bed, reading bedtime stories, that energy, and with our spouses, how many times we come home and pick her up and get crazy a little bit because we just think, okay, now we've earned the right today to come home and just become a couch potato and lose all of the emotion that we had, that is really the best of us. I know Dave Blanchard told me a long time ago, I said, sometimes I feel like when I'm doing that other side of me that I'm being a little bit fake. He goes, no, that's you. When you're not that, you're being somebody that's not you. You're just taking a break. So that part of us that is the full part of us that shows up for our children, for our spouse, on vacation, on the weekends, when we come home at night and in the mornings, you just hit that as good as I could ever get anybody to say it. I really appreciate that, because I think out of everything we talk about today, to me, that's the most important part, is what we're doing away from business.
Yeah, what you just said is brilliant. So I'm definitely 100% agreement, and that's you asked what the passion is all about. That's the passion, and that's So thank you for that.
Wonderful.
Good question.
So you shared the influence Tony had, and I know that's a big, long story, but Tony Robbins has he's impacted me. I've done his 30-day thing, probably 4 or 5. It's always made a difference. I've listened to Tony. I've been to Tony events. Many people have been to, millions of people have been to Tony's events, but I would venture to guess that out of every 10,000 people that go to Tony's and maybe Zig's and other things, that only one of them has the transformation you had with your experience. And I don't mean that we don't all we don't have improvements. We do. But this massive change, because I remember you talked in the class a little bit about where you were, and you were going nowhere fast, and somebody, pretty much your dad, I think, got a ticket, and you were almost not forced, but they were like, hey, you should go to this, and you went. And
no, I was forced.
So why do you think you made that change versus so many people go and they don't make that massive change?
Well, one, I really never heard that stuff before. I mean, my dad had kind of said it a little bit here and there, but that's my dad, you know? And you hear some people come to high school and things like that, and that's just not the same. I mean, the people who came to high school were nowhere near as talented as Tony was. It was just, it was excellent. It was well done, and I'd never heard anything like it before, and it completely changed how I looked at things. And to make, I mean, why it worked for me? Well, you've heard me say before, workshops don't change people, people change people. And Tony didn't change my life. I changed my life. It's what I did after Tony that made all the difference. I made personal development and success a lifestyle, because that's what it is. And I started learning and taking 2 years and just putting this stuff in my head, the Stephen Covey's, Jim Rohn's, Zig Ziglar, more Tony, all these things. I'm like, wow, this is fantastic. And I had to get to and it took a long time. It was the ups and downs. It didn't work right away. It still doesn't work. I'm not perfect. I screw up all the time. It's part of life, and understanding that, as we talked about in the training, when somebody's lying on a hospital bed and the line is straight, they're dead. Same thing in life. Life is the ups and downs as you're moving across your journey, and I understood that you just keep persevering and doing what they say and putting more fuel on the fire, and that keeps the fire burning bright. I'm fortunate enough to be in an industry where I get to do this on a regular basis, but that was the key. That's the difference. Is it wasn't the event that made the difference. It's what I did after the event that made the difference. And that's what it is. And people can get stuck in this, well, I need to go here, I need to go here, I need to go here, here, and they become seminar junkies, and they feel great in the seminar. The seminar means nothing. It's what you do after the seminar. That's the life mastery thing. I've got one over here. It's up. It's fantastic. It is like augment in scroll number 9. No, the parchment or map or my goals are worthless. My dreams are dust. My life mastery certificate means nothing if it isn't followed by action. And that's what it is. You got to take action on what they're saying. You go to these things. You get on fire. You go out there and then you do stuff. You do stuff and you do stuff. You don't go back for more until later on. You got to have time to use it, because it doesn't do you any good to be good in trainings. You got to be good in real life. Trainings aren't real life. No, at Tony Robbins, I didn't have my kids. I didn't have work going on. This is what you do is real life, and seminars are fantastic. I do them, but they don't work. It's what you do after them that works. And I think what will help people get the most out of the seminar is not to feel how good it is in the seminar, know that it ends, and know that you're going to have to actually put into practice on a daily basis afterwards. That's what's going to create change, and that's what created change within me. Not the fact that I felt good and cried at a seminar. It's that I did what I needed to do after the seminar. And it's a big distinction, and it really is, and it's hard work.
I agree.
So I hope that answers your question.
Oh, that was wonderful. And I think, too, when we look at, I've been to a lot of seminars. I've been to so many seminars, and I read books, and I do get frustrated because of exactly what you said. But I think the difference in the way that you teach and what I came out of that is I think the actionable steps must be able to be put into action by everybody. Sometimes we go to places and there's things we just can't do. There's just things that are difficult at that time, or we're really a long ways away from being able to put that into action. Mm-hmm. And with your stuff, it's done there, but it's also able to be put in. And I think also, Tony talks about this a lot, but I think I have people come in all the time that want to lose weight. And we talk about it, and if they're not crying, if they're not in massive pain, Tony's pain and pleasure all the time, that,
yes.
We're going to do things for one of two things. You probably had hit threshold, too, to a certain extent. Maybe you didn't know it. Maybe the seminar realized when you got there how much you didn't like the existence that you were doing at the time, and
yes.
The pain was so strong that it was more painful to continue to go that way than to change.
Absolutely, for sure. Yet I needed to do it afterwards.
Yeah,
and that was the key. I needed to keep going down the path and put what Tony said into action. Otherwise, it was going to, like you've mentioned to me as we spoke, it would go back to the way it was. No problem. It happens all the time. It's happened to me before. I go to this. Oh, I love this. This is great. Oh, and a week out. Oh, okay, maybe not, because you get time to process and think because you're out of the energy, and so you just got to keep at it on a daily basis.
And the sabotage, I think, that occurs for people is when we do this and we fail, we do this, we fail, we do this, we fail, we start to get in the pattern 2 or 3 days after we get home from a seminar that, I went to one 6 months ago, and the brain, we start to develop unhealthy patterns, and we tend to identify things the wrong way. So we go into autopilot. We got to be very careful that we don't take for granted great opportunities of learning and don't act right away, because we will link ourselves to those events, and then automatically Monday or Tuesday come along and we start to go into a depression after we were in a high state of feeling because we've done this 10 or 12 times. And Tony talks about how we link to different things, and a lot of people have. So I love that answer. I appreciate that. We're almost done here. I want to talk about leadership, because to me, leadership is it's defined in our world by titles: CEO, father, mother, teacher, doctor, lawyer. The list goes on and on. We all know that just having a title does not make me good. I'm not a good father just because I'm a father. I'm not a good this or that because I have the title. You teach that leadership is a choice. It's not a title. Leadership is about influencing for good. In our time together, you drove into our hearts something that I don't want you to spill the beans, because I want people to go listen to you, but your leadership pledge. And can you share your thoughts on the pledge, but not so much all of the wording, but why you specifically chose the words to define leadership? Because to me, that pledge does define leadership, because I think leadership is all about the way we influence for good. We could have no title and we could have far more influence than the CEO of the biggest company.
We have to be able to lead ourselves. Dr. Covey says that brilliantly in his Private Victory of, before you lead others, you must be able to lead yourself. It's also the idea that we have a choice. We can follow good leaders. You can follow somebody who's making a choice. We all do that, and that's one of the great gifts given to us by the Creator, is the ability to choose. And from this day forward, here it is. I've made my choice. I will lead not follow, meaning I will lead myself for where I need to go. I will create, not destroy. I'll be a builder. I will make a difference because we shortchange ourselves so much on the difference that we can make in anybody's life just by having a spirit of love and service. I am a leader, and those words were just chosen because it was I don't know, it was just one of those things where we sat down and we're like, okay, what encapsulates it? And it just came, and it just, yes. Well, what is it from this day forward? I don't know how it happened. It just happened. It was one of those things where you just, a group of people get down, the old synergy with quotes just happens. And that's a buzzword and a corporate cliche a lot of times, but we've all been there when you're just sitting around and all of a sudden, like, boom, 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 things just start popping. You're like, ideas, and yeah, that will work. And somebody says something else and they're like, no, that won't work. And he's not like, gets grumpy. No, he's like, yes, you're right, that's not going to work. And it just took a span of like an hour to come up with it. And you just came out of it in a cloud of dust being like, whoa, that's it. And I, in terms of how it happened, I don't know. It was just a group of people with a purpose. There's no agendas besides serving people and making a great training. No egos, just, that basically synergy. And as you mentioned before, 1 + 1 = 3, 5, 20. So that's what happened, and I can't even tell you how it happened.
Well, it's like the greatest books that we tend to read. Og Mandino, he would probably say, I don't know how it happened. I went home, and boom, 10 scrolls.
Yeah, no joke.
So
how do you come up with that book? It's genius.
And to do it in the time span he did, really the guts of the book. The other part of the book took much longer, but the important part, the stuff that really has lasted through time, he could say, I have no idea. I just started writing, and it came, and it was brilliant. So, and I think that's the part of us that we need to tap into, is we don't think always psychologically and philosophy about it. We just listen to that inner voice, and we trust that those messages are coming through, and you get brilliance like this. So I love it. I think it's great. One more question. I'm going to have you introduce some of your stuff.
Sure.
We started the It's All Good podcast because, I believe the message needs to be, I think everyone, I tell people all the time, you need to be putting input in every day. I mean, Zig used to say, do we wait till our car runs out of gas and then go fill it up with gas? It's a nightmare. And if we've ever been low, we know it takes a lot more to get us up than if we're just high all the time, in the sense of listening to good things. So we're in a world, though, where it's not all good. I don't have cable anymore. I don't have a lot of things because it was like putting an IV into me of just continuous negativity. There just wasn't much on there. And I know people say, well, you got to be informed. But how do you deal with the world, the noise, the many things out there that are not good on a daily basis? Do you have things in place like, you just stay away from things, you just constant, Automobile University where it's positive? I mean, what are some of your techniques that you use on a daily basis to keep you at that level?
What helps me is, of course, I put the pure, the powerful, and positive in my head. I read good books. I'm very fortunate to be in the career that I am, where I have the opportunity to train and teach, and it's fantastic. So that helps me stay good. But, I like to be informed, and I immerse myself into just studying the world as it is. And there is negativity, and I want to see what are you doing? Why are you doing this? So conflict is so big. We're going to find somebody who is on this side of the issue, way on this side, and you're going to say something just completely crazy. And we're going to find somebody on this side, way on this side of the issue, and they're going to say something completely crazy, and it's against the other person. We're going to put them there on the same TV screen and watch them duke it out. That conflict is huge. Yet I want to, being able to see that and get various points of view helps me just stay open-minded and keep things and understand I'm here to learn, and being comfortable in myself that it's almost like I view it as a challenge for me personally, is to go on there and be as open-minded to a thought and a philosophy as I can, because that's how I changed my life. Is at some point I had to be open-minded to the thoughts that people were saying in the spirit of love and service, knowing that that is just a person too, and they have goals, they have aspirations, and so when I hear the negativity and see the negativity, I want to understand. I want to listen to you. One of the most powerful things I ever saw was, and I can't find it right now, but I'm going to get it because they took it down off the PBS website, was there is a black gentleman. He was a musician, very famous musician, and he would go sit and have coffee with Klans members and just talk to them. There's no threats or anything like that. I just want to listen. And he said, did I disagree with him? Yeah, absolutely I did. But I wanted to sit down and talk to him. And one of the videos was that they showed where this Klans member is being confronted by all these people, and they're shouting things and they're yelling at him, and the black gentleman happens to be there, and his name escapes me right now, and I feel really bad about it because it's such a powerful piece for me. Is they're yelling at him, and he starts to, I have more respect for this bad word you call black people. He said that, and he pointed at him, than I have for all you white people here. And it's because he'd sit down and he'd talk to him, and part of the piece was by the Klans members were giving up their robes, and they'd give it to him, and he would just say, you know what, it's the spirit of understanding their people and sitting down and understanding and talking to them and providing love and service to somebody who on the surface hates me. And he gives a great example, and he's a big man, he'd say he's fat. And he said, look at me. If I want to get rid of this, it doesn't go away like that, snap of a finger. It takes time and effort and work and patience, and pretty soon that fat will go away and go down. Same thing with the hate. It's not going to go away like that. You do all of a sudden do something extremely extreme by yelling and screaming and all that kind of stuff. No, it's going to go down gradually, because that's the nature and the process of things. So when I sit down with these people who I disagree with, I treat them as people. And at the end, they end up respecting me, and we become friends. And that changed my life from the point of not running away from all this negativity out there, but getting into it and understanding it and just listening to it and taking it in, understanding that I'm going to need the pure, the powerful, and the positive to make sure I don't get negative. But what that does is help me listen and learn from all types of sides and perspectives and thoughts. So that's my philosophy.
Wonderful.
To get in there and listen.
Well, and that, I think you taught us a lot, even myself, because I think that we can turn off the noise, but it doesn't help anything if we turn the noise off. And by validating others and listening with the intent to understand, as opposed to with the intent to build an argument in my brain as you're talking so I can fight you on that topic, and just sometimes, like you said, just walk away and say, okay, making sure that I understand where you're coming from. It's hard because many times we think if we listen and we don't argue that the assumption is we agree with what they're saying. And that's not the case at all. We can listen, we can understand, we can validate, and have a complete 180-degree opinion, but walls come down, and that's how people's hearts are changed, just like in that PBS story you had talked about. So wonderful advice there. Thank you so much.
I'll look it up. I'll Google it real fast, and I'll send you to it. And it's like I said, it's not up on the site anymore. But if you can find it and watch it, it'd be powerful for your listeners just to explore that what you just said piece of listening with the intent to understand rather than to be understood. So
wonderful advice. So finally, I do believe that seminars help people change people, but I think, even though I think what you say is 100% true in my own life, talk a little bit about how people can get more information about what you do, the services you provide, the seminars, the products, because I said in the beginning, I've been to a lot of places. I've listened to the best in the world, and you're right there with all of them. I mean, I'm good friends with Ed Foreman. I've got to know a lot of people, and to me, it's how somebody lives their life. So I watched James. I've got to know James better, and what he preaches at his seminar is who he is, and that's so powerful because I've been around people who've gave a incredible speech, and over the course of time, you're like, well, did you really believe that? Because I saw contrary to what they did. But James is the real deal. I want all of you out there to have opportunities to be influenced by what he does. So tell people a little bit about how they can follow you more, different opportunities they may have to hear you speak, some of the stuff you're involved in writing, and even some messages that they can get, recordings and other things.
Sure, absolutely. Well, we've talked a lot about leadership from the heart, which you attended, Eric, and if you're interested in learning more about that, and I've had the profound opportunity to be able to partner with the Ogmandino Leadership Institute. Ogmandino has been a fantastic piece in my life in terms of providing the pure, the powerful, and the positive in lessons, and I'm very honored to be able to have that as part of the Leadership from the Heart training. And with the partnership with Ogmandino, we're doing a Leadership from the Heart seminar on November 3rd and 4th. So if you're interested, check that out. You can call the Ogmandino group and let them know you're interested. You can call them at 801-298-4014. If you're also interested in what I do, feel free to give me a call, 952-929-1678. I'm kind of weird. This is I'm not out there. I'm just not. And that's part of the idea that this is not about me, this is about you. And as people have talked, you're very underground. I am. Many of my opportunities and workshops are in the Native American community, and the Native American community is roughly 1% of the population. So I'm not like boom all over the place necessarily. I do workshops for other people, but I find staying underground is good because because what I do is not about the production, it's about the heart in my workshops and seminars and leadership from the heart. So you're not going to be all of a sudden finding me all over the place because that's just not how I roll. It's truly about the heart, and there's something that, in my opinion, good, bad, right, or wrong. My business coach would probably be bashing me on the head right now, saying, "What are you doing? Always be closing," and all that kind of stuff. Yet, it's important for me to have a level of just you do what you do, and you let the people tell other people that you got to check this out, because there's so much promotion out there in the world today, so much big talking and trainer hyperbole and all that I do my best to be real, and you may, as from the seminar, you may smile about that, but being real about this stuff is important because so many times people hear me, oh, just another rah guy. I'm not. This stuff is real, and so you're not going to find a lot of promotion. But if you are interested in having me do an event, I do other trainings. One's called Recipes for Success. I do youth events as well. Come talk to me. I like to have real conversations rather than electronic conversations. Now, once again, 952-929-1678 is how you get a hold of me. You can also find me on Facebook, James W. Anderson. Search me at James W. Anderson on Facebook. I don't have some of the other things out there because I was finding that it was taking away from my family. And once my internet and social media world started robbing me from my family, it's time to take a step back and realize real relationships are better in real life than they are in the World Wide Web universe. So I feel really. I usually say this stuff to people face to face as we're talking, and doing it over a Skype call and radio is kind of odd, but that's kind of how I roll. I do things on a low-key underground basis, and I find that helps because it's about the relationships rather than just a whole bunch of promotion. So that's the best way. You can also look at my website, JamesAndersonProductions.com, and search me there. You can find more information. But the best way to learn about what I do is to talk to other people who've been through the seminar, and also talk to me. I'll give you a good kind of breakdown of it without saying too much about it.
Wonderful. And I think that just what James said there, the reason I was so impressed to get James on. I've done a lot of interviews over the years with a lot of people that I highly respect, but I felt like his message and his ability to help you change yourself, because he mentioned it, that is so important that we come away from the events and we're excited. They said a lot of great things, but a lot of people don't change. So this hour is valuable for anybody listening to this. Listen to it over and over again. I will tell you, you will hear many gems of things that can start to change your life right away, but make sure if you have the opportunity to attend an event, because there's something powerful to be able to be. It was a lot of time, and we were like 8 o'clock in the morning till 9 o'clock at night the first night. And I don't know how long you guys went before I left on the next day because of a baby being born, but there's a lot of time, and it makes a huge difference. So we really appreciate you coming on. I know it's an hour time, and that's a lot of investment, but I know that you'll change a lot of people's hearts through this, and then hopefully share this with your friends, family members, and try to attend one of James' events, because it will be transformational for you. So, James, I appreciate the time. Thank you for taking time out of your busy day to come on and inspire and uplift and give some people some powerful words to be able to start to change their life. I really appreciate it.
Chimigwich, thank you very much for having me on, Eric. It's just awesome. I mean, I love your platform, your format here. It's all good. Once again, opportunities to put the pure, the powerful, and the positive in people's heads. That's fantastic. So thank you for doing what you're doing and having this avenue. I can't wait to listen to more. So I'm going to go check back on some back interviews and things. So thank you for having this, because now I have something more I can check out. So thank you.
Appreciate it. And thanks again, everyone. It's all good. iHeartRadio, they'll be playing this probably this weekend. We'll be back this weekend. Adam will be back on, or Lucas. As always, go out and find something good to do for someone. The challenge last week that we gave everyone was to start smiling a little bit more, start laughing. We mentioned some positive results on laughing. So just something today. Go do something for somebody. Somebody will fall on your path. Listen to this. Thanks again, James. It's all good. Thanks for listening, everyone. We'll be coming back at you again this weekend.
Have a great day, everybody.